you could judge us for being pansies, but the whole state of Texas had rolling blackouts. And so there was this time with my family. It was kind of an event, something like it was kind of this iconic event in our life where all of our friends and family were huddled in our living room because we had a gas fireplace and no one else had power, and we had 15 people sleeping in the living room.
Wow.
But what was cool about that is, unlike COVID, we were physically close but emotionally distant. Without power, we were physically close but emotionally close to one another because technology didn't exist. And it was just this sweet memory of survival, I guess. But at the same time, it was a really cool moment in the last months. And I realized, wow, technology, we feel like we're living in 1800s. We got to dump water in the toilet to flush it. But it was such a cool insight into what life without tech could be. And it was actually pretty sweet.
What's going on, guys? This is Erik Allen, owner of Top Rated MMA and the Erik Allen Show. This episode is sponsored by Techless. You've got a lot to balance as an entrepreneur. You're intentional about working hard and resting hard, but the digital world is screaming at you to stay plugged in 24/7. Meet Wisephone, a pure and simple phone for intentional people. It has no ads, no addictions, and no distraction. It's a phone for leaders who want to redeem their time and pursue authentic relationships. To learn about Wisephone, check out techless.com. That's TECHLESS.com. Chris, you're a husband, you're a father, you're the founder of Techless. You're also a creator and innovator, tons more. Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am so excited to be here. In fact, I didn't trim my beard. I'm growing it out just so I can be on this show. I had to fit in here. So thanks for having
me. Yeah, dude. Absolutely, man. I like to kind of kick things off by going back a bit. You grew up around entrepreneurs your entire life. What was childhood like, and where did you grow up, man?
Yeah, so I grew up in this little tiny town in Texas called Shiner, Texas. It's 2,000 people deep. We have one stoplight, no chain restaurants. And so my family, I grew up in a fifth generation business. So I'm the fifth generation of the founder here. So my great great grandfather started it. I live in his house now. It's kind of cool. Okay. But I grew up just, entrepreneurship and just creating businesses was a pretty normal thing. I mean, even our company has 8 different companies within it. Right. And so I grew up working in a factory, knocking welding slag off of grill guards. I've done it all, swept floors, and I've also helped with marketing and advertising. So it's just kind of been a part of life.
Yeah. I mean, your great grandfather started Kaspar Companies in like 1898, right?
Yep. Almost 125 years. I think we're hitting quite a while ago. Yes.
Man, that is so amazing, dude. And I mean, having been in the entrepreneur space for so long, you've had a lot of wins. All entrepreneurs also have failures, though. Like, which failure or learning opportunity hit you the most? And how did you get through that?
Yeah. So, the things that I've started myself, I've had a pretty good track record, which I'm pretty excited about. Nice. But as far as just being involved in family business, I'll say our family is an anomaly. I mean, less than 1% of family businesses hit a third generation. And so there's just kind of a testament to God's hand working in our family for us to last as long as we have. But I will also say I've seen some really, really sweet things. I have a lot of really good things to say about family, but there's also a couple tough parts of just being in a family relationship where you're dealing with lots of opinions and, professional, but mixed with personal. And so I'd say some of the greatest challenges I've had have been just walking through relationships with family members. And it's all been really good, really strengthening, but definitely gives you insight into what it means to be partners with people.
Right. Man, so many dynamics when you bring in other family members for the business side of stuff, man, for sure, dude. I want to talk about Techless, man, because this is such a powerful and much needed like product on the market. And for those who don't know, what is Techless? Like, where did the idea come from and what's the mission behind it, man?
Yeah, so Techless, at the end of the day, we've just started to see our technology, particularly our phones, have taken away from this quality of life and the quality of relationship. And so our goal really is to restore that. And for our tech, particularly our phones, that's where we're starting, I guess, to be a tool that serves us instead of this thing that distracts us, this thing that engages us and tries to draw us into addiction or things that we wouldn't necessarily choose if we had the choice.
Yep.
And so, we started a couple years ago. We launched our first product really just a few months ago, and it's been an exciting journey, and we're ready for the next season.
I mean, with all the COVID lockdowns and stuff like that, I would expect like digital usage went up. Everybody's on their phone and iPads and all of that stuff. Like, how do you think the COVID lockdowns affected families during this time?
Man, it's obvious. Okay, so I got two interesting stories in
Yeah.
response to that. So the first one is I had a kid actually steal my car. I drive a Tesla, and he broke in the office, stole my computer, wiped it, all this other stuff. But he took my Tesla on joyrides multiple times. And then I got my computer back, and actually the police asked me to investigate. I had access to social accounts, and I'd help them with the investigation. And at the end of the day, I figured out that he was just bored out of his mind. And he was isolated. I mean, he wasn't doing it to steal money. There was money sitting on the counter. There's a $15,000 camera in my office. He didn't hawk those items. He did it because he was just burnt out from the relationships with his family. He was just emotionally distant. I mean, he was reaching out to influencers saying, "Hey, look at me driving this cool car," just
No way.
craving human connection. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an iconic story that actually applies that emotional distance, even though we're physically close to our families, is kind of the trend that I've seen in the pandemic. So
Yeah.
that was quite an adventure for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's so unbelievable, dude. So did you get the car back though?
I got the car back.
Okay.
A couple little dents. One of the videos he posted to the influencer had him hitting a rabbit, but all things considered, I got away pretty good.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
yeah, he could have gotten in pretty big trouble. I mean, it was like Grand Theft Auto. I had a gun in the car, and it could have been a mess for him. But he got yeah. Anyway, it was quite an adventure. And then the other story that ties into that question is this
Yeah.
last week. If you guys have been watching the news, Texas just got blizzard. I mean, Idaho, you guys are used to it, like no big
Right.
deal, sub-zero temperatures, whatever. You could judge us for being pansies, but the the whole state of Texas had rolling blackouts, and so there was this time with my family. It was kind of an event, it was kind of this iconic event in our life where all of our friends and family we were huddled in our living room because we had a gas fireplace and no one else had power, and we had 15 people sleeping in the living room.
Wow.
But what was cool about that is, unlike COVID, we were physically close but emotionally distant. Without power, we were physically close but emotionally close to one another because technology didn't exist. And it was just this sweet memory of survival, I guess. But at the same time, it was a really cool moment in the last months. And I realized, wow, technology, we feel like we're living in the 1800s. We got to dump water in the toilet to flush it. But it was such a cool insight into what life without tech could be. And it was actually pretty sweet.
Yeah. My gosh, man. Yeah, I've got some family members that live out in Houston area and they didn't see power out for too long, but they did see it on their end. But yeah, just the stories coming out of Texas during that time is just unbelievable, man. In April of this year, really exciting news for Techless. You guys have the Series A round for investors coming up. How can investors get involved, and what type of investors are you looking for Techless?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So that's kind of a new announcement. So I'm excited you're bringing it up. We just decided we're going to do this. We are centering that around a pitch event called Lion's Den, which is kind of like Shark Tank, but often for Christian investors or people that want to do something more than just make money with their
Yep.
money. Meaning they want to make a social impact. They want to make an impact on the world in a positive way, and they have moral or ethical guidelines as far as how they're investing. And so we have been plugged into that community, love those guys. But if you're an impact investor that believes in kind of the Techless vision, what we're behind, those are the people that really get excited what we're doing. And investor sentiment is changing. I mean, Twitter and Facebook combined in 2 weeks in January went down $51 billion
Wow.
because investors are just tired of big tech and the garbage that's going on. And so we're kind of the response to that in a sense. So we're opening our doors and we're welcome investment. Kind of 50K or more is
Yeah.
sort of what we're looking at, and you have to be an accredited investor.
Sure. Man, I think that's amazing. And now you have that. That's really exciting. Anything else? What else is happening in 2021 for Techless, man?
Well, so for us, our product, is still, I would call MVP. I mean, we're just coming out of MVP, minimal viable product. You know, we've launched, we have paying customers, we're working on it, but we just want to really make it solid and just make it kind of the Apple standard, I guess you could say, because people have deep expectations when it comes to their phone. And so we're constantly tweaking our design philosophy and building new features. And so we're really honing in on that. That's kind of our plan this next year.
Gotcha. How much does faith play into your entrepreneurship side of things and your family?
Yeah, I mean, that's the driving force behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And many of our team members, I mean, we do have people that don't have faith as part of our team, but our core leadership is driven by a passion. And I would say that passion, if you think about like, go to Jesus's words. He said the two most important things in the world are your relationship with God and your relationship with others. And at the end of the day, those are the two greatest commandments. And I've seen, I mean, I had 20 different business concepts, right? And I looked at all of them, and I had narrowed it down and ran financials. And when it came down to it, I had two choices. One was a good investment decision, and the other one was, hey, we could change the world. And looking at the lens through the two greatest commandments, tech has become a distraction from our relationship with the Lord and from our relationship with one another. And it's just this huge opportunity to change the world. I mean, give people a life without pornography, a life without social media addiction, a life without so many things that I've struggled with bits and pieces of this myself. And so we just want to help with that. So absolutely, that's the backbone for what we're doing here.
Love it, man. Love it. And one of the really cool things that you and your wife have done is you guys have been foster parents to many awesome kids, truly amazing. And you guys are world changers, man. But for folks that are thinking about getting into this foster parenting thing, like what are the tips you can give them?
Do it and just do it. You know, I don't know. Give yourself grace. God made kids with lots of grace. And it's kind of this cool thing that he puts within them. It's been one of the most challenging things, but also one of the richest things. And we've had all kinds of cool surprises come out of it. Just relationships, because we needed to depend on our neighbors. We needed to depend on our family, and just got a whole new vision for what it means to live in community, to depend on others, and then change lives in the process. And so that just like escalated our vision and our ability to love people, just because we forced ourselves. I mean, it's kind of like hiring a personal trainer. His job is to make you do things that you kind of don't want to do.
Right.
That's kind of what foster care is. It forces you to love these kids, whether you have it in you or not. And we just had to depend on the Lord for our strength and our energy sometimes. And it is the sweet experience. So I would highly recommend it. I mean, we had 7 kids come and go in our house, and every minute of it was challenging and just full of joy. So
that's so cool. I have some friends that actually live in Texas, and they had fostered 3 kids from 2 different families, and they were all under the age of 4 or 5. And then they went through the adoption process. And while they're doing that, they've been trying to have a kid forever. They can't have a kid, and then all of a sudden they get pregnant. Like, so now they get 4 kids underneath 4 years old all at one time. And it's been an awesome experience. But man, yeah, that was a cool experience to kind of see them start out as foster parents and go through that process. And then, you know, God just blessed them with a baby out of like nowhere, you know, and they've been married for 10 plus years and never was able to have a child until then, man. So it was really cool to see that process there.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say almost any time you sign up for foster care, it's a roller coaster. It sounds like your friends experienced that.
Totally.
We kind of had a similar story, honestly. We struggled with infertility. I mean, for years we tried, and we said, you know what, we're just going to do foster care. And the moment we started doing foster care, we got pregnant with our first daughter. And we're now pregnant with our 4th daughter. So it's been a similar journey for us, but definitely some miracles in there.
So cool, man. Like, how can folks get information on Techless? What's the best place to go so they can learn about your mission and help you guys out?
Yeah, so it's straightforward. Techless.com. It's techless.com. Everything you need to know is there. All the information about Wisephone, pricing, features. There's often a lot of questions because it's somewhat of an innovative product. So when you do that, people are like, what is this? And you can wrap your mind around it. But that's the easiest way to reach out to us and learn anything you want.
Awesome. Wanted to finish the show with some fun questions here real quick. I'm a music guy, so I love to ask this question. Like, what's the favorite type of music for you or favorite band for you?
Oh man. So I'm really into the folk indie,
Okay.
acoustic type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the more chill, the better. Actually a fun Easter egg. I'm a fan of DC Talk back in the day for any,
Yeah. Come on.
so we recorded all the audio for Techless, all the ringtones. It's generated by the human body. So it's not all a cappella, but like, chest thumps and snaps and everything like that. But we recorded it in Michael Tate's studio, who's the lead singer at his house, lead singer of DC Talk and the Newsboys as well. So that was
Yeah.
kind of a fun journey there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, huge fan of DC Talk back in the day. Had their book, all that stuff, man. And I'm a big fan of like Supertones,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
POD.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
good stuff.
Someone just introduced me to NF, which I wasn't like I'm not a huge rap fan, but I actually like that guy's lyrics, and the way that he comes across. And so it's kind of interesting stuff there. I've asked this question before, but like if you could jump into a pool of anything, what would you jump into?
Man, that's a dangerous question. Should I answer honestly? Oh man, I feel like I have to pick not the first thing that comes to my mind because yeah, um, man, what would it be? That everything's weird. Everything single thing that pops in my mind is weird. I mean, it's like kittens or I'm in left field on that one.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm sure someone said money before, so I can't say that. So.
Yeah, money's kind of the big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We took our kids' pool that we put out in the backyard and during the summer, right? And then during the winter, we brought it inside so it wouldn't get ruined. And then so my wife had this genius idea of like, hey, let's have a ball pit. So she bought literally 6,000 balls from Amazon and we filled this pool up downstairs. And so we have our own ball pit, germ free, not like Chuck E. Cheese, but hang out down in the ball pit. And it's actually like really relaxing to jump in this big ball pit.
Man,
So that's what we have.
awesome. I'm going to take my kids to your house. We're all four of them. The daughters are going to come and invade. That sounds like fun. So.
Yeah.
No, awesome. I actually, you know what? Okay. Have you seen the water beads? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh yeah.
They're these little tiny hard plastic beads, but they expand to like 20 times their size and they're kind of squishy. That would be it. It'd be the weirdest feeling ever, but that's what kind of playing off the ball theory here.
Dude, I agree. I think that would be amazing to jump into. That's so awesome, man. Chris, you are an absolute world changer, man. Such an honor to have you on my show. I'm excited to see what you guys got going on this year. I'm just praying for blessings over you and your family and investors to come in and really just take this thing and really change the world with it, man. So I'm proud of you, man, and just excited to see what's coming up next for you.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the support, and anyone listening, if you guys, I mean, we're here for you. So if there's anything we can do, Techless can do to help, either just giving you a phone you can trust for your kids or for yourself, whatever that looks like, just reach out to us. But again, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for watching the show today. I appreciate it. If you could, please leave a rating and review on our Apple podcast. The link is down below. That helps us get our message out, get the show out, helps us get ranked out there on the Apple podcast. Also, leave a comment below, man. I'd love to know what part of this show made the most impact on you. I respond to every comment on there. And please share this video, whether you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please share it out. We want to make sure that we impact as many people as we can with the guests that come on my show and highlight those guests and what they've got going on, and they're changing the world. So thank you so much for the time. So appreciate it. Have an awesome day.